Welcome back to Boys and Ghouls Film Review, folks. I'm your host, Sarah Stephenson. This is my co-host, Mike Stephenson.
Hi, guys.
And tonight we'll be reviewing another manga anime called Fruits Basket.
That's fruits plural.
Yeah.
Yeah, a Japanese manga series between 2019 and 2021. It was 3 seasons, was it?
Yeah, I would say so, Mike. Compared to the first one they did years ago,
2001 was it?
2001, exactly.
Yeah, 2001. Yeah, it was a shorter version. They didn't do the full story, I don't think.
Yeah, not
maybe.
really. I mean, and it left out a few sort of
interesting bits.
Easter egg thingy-wingies that are very interesting, partially part to the story to make it.
This one is a full story, and actually, I must admit, I was saying to you earlier on that this is one of the better ones. Because it's more of an adult one, would you say? It has more of adult themes in it and stuff, and not just teen sort of comedy, romance sort of thing. It's actually a drama, so it came over quite good actually, and it's not subtitled, which is really nice. It's been dubbed, so it all makes sense to me.
Yeah. Although I imagine, just like a lot of animes, you'll find they'll probably have it both in Japanese and an English text one.
You've made me sit through somewhere I've got to read it.
Well, it could be helped, Mike. Sometimes these people can't afford doing both.
I know, but it's very hard. I have trouble with my eyes at the best of times. And reading the subtitles and actually what's going on at the same time in an ordinary movie is hard enough for me, let alone an anime production. So
anyway, this is pretty interesting one. And it's, as Mike says, it's a drama, a teen drama with a little bit of fantasy thrown in. A little
bit of fantasy, right? But it's more of a drama than
a tablespoon of fantasy.
Yeah, it's fair. Well, this girl was not sort of orphaned, sort of orphaned, because she had a grandfather from another family, but she had to live by herself. And then she started living with these guys who are actually gods from the...
not gods. They're spirit. They have spirit animals in their human bodies.
Of the Japanese zodiac or something like that.
And they're not. They don't have spiritual powers per se, but if they're cuddled by the opposite sex, like if you're a male who I would just want to say this, Mike. If you were a male and you had an animal spirit in you, and then one day a female comes up and hugs you, you transforms into that said animal
for a period of time.
Naked, because no doubt
the clothes fall off.
Yeah, the clothes fall off, and you have.
And you come back, you're not wearing anything. Now, this is Japanese, but it's a Chinese zodiac. Yeah. So
don't get me wrong; it's not an adult sex movie or something like that.
No, it's reference to sex in it. Yeah. It's more of a mature one, but it's not there. They're not going out like rabbits, even though there's rabbit in them. And on a horse and a what do you call it? Seahorse and
and we have a cat and a dog, a rat, and let me see. Oh yeah, a hog, a pig, if that's the word. And let me see what else.
What else? I can't remember.
Oh yeah, there's a ram, like a sheep,
and a chicken,
and a tiger.
Oh, big pussycat.
Just so you guys know, me and Mike here, Mike and I, we actually took the opportunity to check out our animal zodiac, horoscopes. Mine is a tiger.
I don't know. I can't remember now.
I don't know, Mike.
I'm a snake now. Hyena.
No.
Monkey.
No. Oh wait, I forgot. There is a monkey in the zodiac. I forgot that one. Sorry, guys.
And a bunny rabbit.
Anyway, it's an interesting story, and I think.
There is 63 episodes. We're not going to go through it piecemeal.
No. I'll just give you the overview, like the relationships between the said characters and our lead protagonist or our lead female in the story.
Yeah, the good guy. Yeah, all the good guys and one bad person, sort of, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Anyway, you want to roll into it?
Yes.
I can't say too much about it because I can say a few things. It was originally written by Taku Kishimoto, directed by Yuki Ibara. I think that's the right pronunciation. Sorry if that's wrong. I can't think of anything else there. It was run in between April 2019 and June 2021. I think it's 3 seasons containing 63 episodes.
The one thing I like about these animes is how the building structures and landscapes and locations they actually do the illustrations of the background. I mean, they look like streets I'm familiar with in Brisbane, in Queensland. I mean, around Brisbane and Fortitude Valley.
I think they go for a touch of realism, but their streets look probably like their place. But the city's a city. But I must admit, when you look at the quality of their animations, the backgrounds and everything, they take a lot of time making it real looking.
Exactly. So
even like a mark on a wall. That's also a bit of dirt. They even go so far as to do little things like that. A bit of rust on the corner over there. Little things like that when you wouldn't think about. But they spend a lot of time doing the animation for these sort of things, which is, I don't know, it's a hard job, computer generated, whatever, but they do pretty good. Yeah. Anyway, do you want to get into telling the story now?
Yeah,
it's going to be rather a long one.
I like to say who our lead characters are. I mean, I like to make sure I say the names correctly.
We'll try to.
That's even though I have a difficult time trying to pronounce Japanese or even Chinese names.
Well, yes.
I just like something to reference.
Fun with Dick and Jane. That sounds pretty good, doesn't it?
Okay, don't be rude.
No, that was a movie. I think George Siegel was in it or something. Okay, what's the girl's name? Tohru Honda?
Tohru Honda.
Yeah, Honda. They're looking at motorcycles. Okay. She was the main one. She's the girl that centred the round, and I haven't got the other ones written down here. Sarah's probably got those. She got Yuki, is it?
Yeah, Yuki is. He's the
he's
boy
nice,
with the cat spirit. Not cat spirit. He had the rat spirit.
The rat, yes. And who's the other guy? The cat guy. I haven't got all the names. I wasn't going to go through them. I was going to leave it to you. Whatever. The cat guy.
His real first name is let me see. It's Kyo.
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 That'll do. And what was the dog name? The guy who's the older one in charge of the household.
Let me see.
I haven't got his name there.
Bad.
Dog guy.
I guess this is his name. I'm not sure.
Oh yeah, sure guy. Yeah. Shigure Sohma. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. We won't worry about the names of all the other ones. We'll say dog person and someone's a horsey person. And
I want to tell you guys, both the Japanese and the English voice actors doing the singing stuff.
We believe they're the same ones who did the 2001 version. We believe. That was in some of the notes we picked up. Yeah.
Yeah. So the story begins. Tohru Honda. She's sort of an orphan. Both mum, dad died at different times when growing up. Her mum, who was around during her childhood, she died, and she became a sort of a key Easter egg element throughout all the 4 seasons. Right, Mike?
I would say so, yes.
So, anyway, she's now an orphan, looking after by her grandfather. Then one day her grandfather tells her that he's renovating their house, so she needs...
Her cousin or somebody, or his other daughter or somebody, his family...
Yeah, so his rest of his other family are going to look after him for the next couple of weeks or months.
Or year
and
or whatever. Yeah.
He wants her, Tora, to go and stay with a couple of her mates to look after her. But one of her mates lives with a drunken dad, and the other one lives in a very crowded home with 2 other kids.
Yes,
so
ain't no room.
So she says to him not to worry. She will work out. She says, "Okay, I'll find one of my friends to live with them."
Don't you worry, Grandpa. Yeah.
But instead, she decides to get a tent that cost her $10 and
we know how much it cost them.
And live in the woods or somewhere.
Oh, yeah, near the woods. In the woods, on a track somewhere.
Of
whatever.
course, she had her set of problems dealing with weather, slugs, ants, the things you normally can encounter if you're...
Hands up, who's been camping? Aha.
Quite a few. Anyway, she then goes to school, where at school is the hottest guy in school, Yuki, who is... got a fan club, and he's very quiet. He's very quiet, and he doesn't like any women hugging him. So
he doesn't want them anywhere near him. Actually,
yeah.
I thought he was gay in the beginning, but anyway, he was not.
No, he's just.
He just doesn't need to have. He doesn't need females around because it will. Well, we'll tell you about in a minute. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, Yuki lives with one of his relatives,
Shigure,
who in a nice little cabin. It's nice looking.
House, like cabin.
There, Tohru meets him, and they discuss his zodiac animal figurines that he has in his possession. And she flashes back to the past, where her mother explains the story behind the zodiac animals. The zodiac animals were invited to a party by God, a banquet, and the spirit, the animal, the rat tells his neighbor, telling him, it's changed to a different day.
His neighbor, the cat.
Yeah, leaving the cat left out. And of course, Tohru, being only a 6-year-old at the time, says that she was born in the year of the dog. See, the zodiac animals, they represent different years of the calendar.
I think most people know this.
Anyway, she then proclaims, I'm not going to no longer be a dog. I'm going to be a cat person.
Yeah.
And anyway, so she eventually meets Yuki at the cabin, and they walk to school together. Of course, the news gets around that she walked with
He's
him,
a really hot guy.
because he's got a fan group, as I said before, who don't want anyone interacting with him. Unfortunately, Honda has some friends of her own who's a tough girl. I don't know her name is, obviously. And another girl who's very gothic-y.
A bit like a Wednesday Addams type.
And she has psychic powers.
She can read minds.
Yes. Of course, this is misinterpreted later on.
Some people call her a witch. It's not a witch. Just
or demon, or what they call it. I don't know.
A bit of overreacting here.
Yeah, the girls get frightened off by her two friends, and they leave her alone. Anyway, moving on. Soon enough, she works as a part-time maid, or just a person, a janitor, if you will.
No, yeah, a cleaner in an office block or something.
An office building.
Yeah.
She works hard. She hopes to, when she finishes high school, her goal is to start joining the workforce.
Get a real job.
See, her mother wants her to continue with high school, continue with an education, because her mother never had a high school education. So she wants her daughter to do everything she couldn't do, even though most of the time parents would encourage you to go off to university to study and then make a career later on in life.
University is good, but it's not suitable for everybody. So
it's not for everyone.
Those who are out there don't want to do uni, that's fine by me. I didn't do it either.
She then gets discovered by the two of the Yuki and his his
older brother or cousin.
I don't know if his cousin.
We think they're very related, like cousins and brothers and stuff.
They're related, but they never explain what the relationships are.
I think the cousins are very close-knit family.
Or close considering. Yeah. Anyway, she then they then follow her back to her tent, and there they discover that she's been living in a tent for the last couple of months. And she doesn't mind it. She says that she doesn't mind living in a tent. She doesn't mind the slugs. She doesn't mind the ants. And of course, they then find out that there's a bit of a landslide that happened near the tent, and which kind of swallowed up all the her belongings.
It took the tent, covered the tent over, and
she wants to go back there and tries to save her mother's photo and along with any of her belongings. of course, she couldn't dig her way out, so she eventually returns.
Dig her way in because he wasn't in it.
The boys invite her back to their house. She's a little bit, exhausted because I guess from work and probably lack of sleep.
Yeah, probably.
Anyway, Yuki returns there with a horde of rats.
Yeah, his animal thing is a zodiac animal is a rat, so he turned in a rat and called all the other rats to help him. They cleared the dirt in no time.
Yeah, well, of course we don't know too much. We just know a lot of rats joined him, and
it's like. Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyway,
guinea pigs.
He then returns with her bag and her belongings, and then they decided amongst themselves to allow her to stay with them.
And that's a little bit of light cleaning and cooking and stuff.
Yeah. See, being two men bachelors, they both are both slobs, and they cannot cook
or clean.
Or clean.
Or do anything else.
See,
wash dishes.
His brother or cousin is actually a writer who, I guess, he spends all his time in his office writing. And
dreaming and whatever and things like that. Yeah, as writers do.
Anyway, so they make plans of having her stay. So they take her up to her room. Just then, Kyo appears, and he wants to fight Yuki. And
they're always doing this all the way through the first season.
Comes through the ceiling. He kind of breaks through the ceiling and starts making advances on Yuki. But unfortunately, Tohru falls, trips, and knocks into him. And then he poofs into a kitty cat.
Oh.
And she's like, oh my gosh, he was just a boy and now he's a cat. Oh my gosh, it's all my fault, all this stuff. And she tries to run to see about getting him some medical service or at least a vet.
Or help, whatever. You get a vet.
And then she knocks into the two other brothers. Well, not brothers, I mean two other
two guys.
And they both of them turn into a rat and a dog.
Yeah.
And she goes to the front door, and there's a mailman there, and he's amazed that the dog was able to sign the paperwork.
Funny that, hey.
Of course, they start fussing. The cat, Chaos, starts freaking out, saying, "How can you guys turn into animals?" He's really hot-tempered, this guy.
He's always been hot-tempered. But
anyway,
so get on with it.
They quickly explain the situation, like their family are possessed with animal spirits, different generations of their family, I should say, where each one gets an animal spirit. Of course, not all of them are possessed with the animal spirits, per se. If all of them are possessed, other members of the family, if they say a newborn is born into the family, he or she will not be possessed by an animal spirit, per se. So,
per se. You're with it.
Yeah.
What's it mean?
What?
What's per se mean?
Well, it's a possibility. In case if one of them either dies or of old age. Anyway, so she knows the truth, and now they have to contact the head of the family. I'm going to say the head of the family to see if maybe she will get her memory erased, or
because she's not supposed to know about these things.
So there is a bit of a problem there, and she's worried that her memories of Yuki will vanish and stuff like that.
But Dog Boy has word to the doctor. He's a family doctor for the big family, and he does the mind clearing, and they decide not to.
Yeah.
Move on.
Yes. Anyway, she then warms up with the cat boy, obviously. They call each other by cat or dog, or Yuki and the cat guy. They have a bit of a dispute. I think it has something to do with the fact about the story I mentioned about how
the rat tricked the cat into not going to the party.
See, throughout this series, they kind of conduct themselves in the same manners of the animal spirits they occupy. Slightly.
Exactly. A bit.
A little bit. Not too much. A bit.
Anyway, keep going. It's a long review this one, okay?
Anyway, she eventually warms up to them, and eventually they have different adventures together. And of course, I keep wondering whether or not her friends will ever discover the secret to her new friends' identities. I don't think they ever did, but it doesn't matter at this point.
I think the mind reading one knew.
I think she
I
did.
like to think so. Yeah.
Yeah, and she didn't want to expose them. I don't know, maybe.
Well, it's a secret, isn't it?
No, it's true. We do meet other members of the family, different cousins, different branches of the family. One of them is got a German accent, whose mother's a German, and his dad is a Japanese businessman who owns the building that Tohru's working in as the janitor.
Okay, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, we learned this in one of the episodes.
That's right. Yeah, I forgot.
Yeah, we also have three female women who have zodiac spirits in them. One of them is a little girl named, I don't know her name is, but she has a tiger spirit, and she was being bullied by her classmates because of her unusual colored hair. As I said before, in anime, they always have different colored hair in these episodes. What?
You're going into too many backstories. You got a long way to go.
We have also a nice, hot-looking, what's her name? The girl we were discussing, the one who's possessed by the horse spirit. Ree.
Yeah, Reen.
She's a beautiful woman. She dresses she dresses really awesome gothic-y clothing.
Actually, all look like Barbies, don't they? The older ones.
Yeah, sometimes.
With colour hair, but
yeah. And the last one I should mention is possessed by the boar spirit, or the hog spirit, I should call it, who is a total whack job because she's so in love with Kaio, the boy with the cat spirit.
Yeah.
She gets all on his nerves, and even mentions in one episode about his true form. No, don't ask me yet, because at first I thought, is this true form just the cat form he's referring to? But it may be another one. We're not unaware of.
He got a double whammy, this guy. Yeah.
Oh, yes. And, of course, he's treated like an outcast by... I don't know so much as... he thinks he's an outcast. I think that they believe it so much, the zodiac thing. They start believing the fact that they develop these characteristic traits from the said story. Anyway, so moving on.
I wish it would.
Yuki begins to form an attachment to Tohru because of her kind nature and her nurturing attitude. She's a very nice person. Like, she doesn't judge people. She sees the good in people sometimes.
Anyway, she brings the goodness out in everybody she touches.
Exactly.
Or comes in contact with.
Comes in contact with.
Not allowed to touch too much, they'll turn animals. So.
Yeah, gives her the wrong impression.
Yeah, wrong impression. I used to turn an animal when I was younger, but...
Yuki's not the only one that's touched by her loving nature. Kaio is also in love with her in a big way. We find out much later on. Anyway, we do see his true form by the final episode. It's sort of like either a dragon or
a big serpent
creature. And luckily enough, Tohru was able to see his true form, and she still accepted him and didn't want to see him disappear from that cabin, later on, because she feels that if he rejects her love, or any help from anyone, he'll just up and leave, because he's always upping and leaving. And
he runs away and hides and stuff, and when the going gets tough, the tough get going,
Yeah. Anyway, she then proves her love by hugging him or holding on to him, and then he turns back
as a dragon.
Yeah. He then turns back into his human form and still embraces her and turns into his kitten form.
He's naked.
Well, his pants were still on.
Were they?
Yeah.
Cats don't wear pants.
Well,
the dragon might have been wearing pants. Yeah.
And
top half is a dragon. Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Anyway, we then move on to season 2, where their relation digs deeper again, and we find out from the head of the family, who turns out to be, he's not a zodiac member, as it turns out. He's actually the god to the story. I mentioned. Yeah,
the replacement god of the one in the story, because that god had been replaced by another god, a bit like Doctor Who. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. She's also accompanied by her, I guess her assistant, the guy who possessed by the rooster. I won't reveal too much about him just yet, obviously. Anyway, we then learned from the head that Kaio is going to be, once his school year is done in high school, he will be confined to a special cabin and isolated from his family.
And locked up, so he can't get out.
Yeah.
Because he is seen to be
a monster to them. Or the head sees him as a monster.
Yeah, for one reason or another.
Anyway, moving on. So, there is fear, and Tohru's worried that he'll be forever confined to this cabin forever and ever, and she worries about what will become of him. Anyway, there's an interesting episode where they did a Cinderella play, and it was a bit funny, that one.
And it said Cinderella-ish.
Because Tohru was playing an evil stepsister, and she no doubt couldn't hack it. So they had to change the dialogue around.
And it was really funny. It's just really weird.
It has a lot of laughs, and I recommend watching it. I recommend it, even though I recommend you guys watch the entire series. As I know I'm halfway through the series already, but I recommend you guys watch it all so you don't miss out on the laughs.
It does flow quite nicely.
Yeah. Anyway, moving on. Yuki in season 2 is actually student president.
Yeah, he gets voted in as student president. Yeah,
and he deals with his own hardships of his own. And each episode, he gets confronted by different issues of his own, where he's dealing with another student who's sort of one of the students, part of the student council, obviously, that's it, where that person continues to break things inside the classroom.
In the classroom, in the meeting rooms and whatever, she has a temper. Yeah. She certainly does.
We learn a bit of truth behind her life, and we realize that she has a similar backstory to Yuki, where Yuki, his parents, they were wealthy people, and they saw his chance of being accepted by the family head, because the head wanted to interact with him a bit more, because they had according to the story, the rat and her can have a good bond going, but of course the head starts acting weird, really strange. Like she uses violence. Sometimes she would use bad language.
Violence, intimidation.
Saying nasty things to members of the family.
Yeah.
Using it as a way of manipulating them to stay in the family.
In
her mind.
She was told she was born to be loved by everybody around her, and she demands that love, pretty much.
Yeah.
By hook or by crook.
Yeah. Exactly so. She uses this manipulation to manipulate Tohru, saying nasty things to her and saying she's not pretty, but disagreement is in the family who think that she's really pretty and really nice. The leader's a rotten
cow, how's that? But it's not really a cow, she's a human being.
Yeah. Anyway, one of the Zodiac members falls in love with Tohru's friend, and for a while he doesn't seem to want to bust a move and try to continue the relationship.
Are you a chicken man?
Yes. Yeah. He's not a chicken, as it turns out. He's a rooster, obviously.
Well, a chicken or a rooster, whatever.
Well, anyway, chicken is chicken. Anyway, we learned in the final episodes that his zodiac spirit, he kind of is no longer connected to him.
It's part of a curse, and they get cursed with the spirit. And if the curse is broken, they're no longer controlled by the zodiac spirit, which means they're normal.
Yeah, we learned once the connection is severed, I guess it doesn't connect with the head anymore.
Yeah, that bond they had isn't there anymore.
Yeah, she freaks out and keeps demanding he stay, because I think it's a threat to the bond with
She is lonely, that's why, and she's taking out on everybody around her.
Yeah.
Because if everyone walks away from her, she won't be loved by anybody and be a very lonely woman.
Yeah.
Actually, she's actually dressed up as a man because she's raised as a man because of one of the male leader.
Yeah, see, according to the story, her story, the head, when she was getting born, she was inside her mother, the older members of the Zodiac, who were still in their still kids, they actually had a dream about her. And when they woke up, they all cried.
No, when she was conceived.
Yeah, when she was conceived.
When Mummy and Daddy had Nookie and the egg was fertilised, they knew about it. So,
They all run to the head's mum, and they all pronounced that they were waiting for her.
And it pretty much pledged their bond to her and everything.
Yeah. Of course, at the time, they didn't know what was happening at the time.
Nah.
Anyway, so we then learn that slowly the bonds between the zodiacs and their human counterparts are slowly severing. The next one on the list is the rabbit zodiac human who gets it severed, and he cries, and then the head rushes to him saying, "Do not leave me, do not leave me." But he feels like he needs to think.
But in the end, he decides he has to leave her. Yeah.
Yes. The next one is one of the youngest members, who is probably a 12 or 10-year-old, who is possessed by the ram spirit. And he's actually he was sad, but he was actually relieved that he could actually hold his baby sister, who doesn't have a zodiac creature in him, because he kind of was a bit relieved that he can finally be the big brother his sister needed.
And be normal.
He hugs his baby sister, and he was hugged by his mother. And I loved it when she gave birth to his sister. His mother asked, "Why don't you hold the baby?" And he says, "I can't hold her. If I hold her, I'll turn to a ram and I might kick her," or something like that.
Yeah,
but he says,
brother.
"That's okay. I'll hold you both." And I think she really loved her baby boy a little bit. I think if I was a lucky mother, I think I would love it if one of my children was possessed by the zodiac creatures, so I can cuddle their little furry body. Doesn't matter. Anyway,
we got a zodiac cat here.
So there's threat to the head's power, or because of the severing. We then learn she was given a box at a young age, and this box sort of contained the spirit of her late father. Mm-hmm. Her mother wants this box, and when she comes to her room, she demands the box. So she ends up throwing the box, and the box tips over, and
nothing in it.
Nothing in it. One of these servants, the oldest servant, kept saying that she gave the box to her as a bit of a talisman, sort of to give her the impression that her father lives on, or something.
A bit like a placebo effect. How's that?
Of course, this upsets everyone, and then the head takes her anger out on the rooster, the ex-rooster zodiac guy, with a knife, and stabs him in the back. Yeah. Don't worry, he didn't die.
He gets better. Yeah.
She then goes to the house where Tohru lives. She actually confronts Kao about her love for him, and he reveals a secret that he has kept from her for a long time. This is season 3, I should mention. Yeah. I'm sorry, I'm skipping ahead.
You're skipping ahead. There are 63 episodes. You have to skip
he
ahead
tells
a bit.
her that he met her mother before she died, and they were friends when he was a little boy, and she told him about her daughter. Even one night, he actually visited their house and saw Tohru when she was no more than a 10 or 9-year-old.
Whatever, kid, yeah.
Yeah, anyway, then one day Tohru went missing, and her mother was freaking out, and Kao tries to find her, but he actually couldn't find her. And then he finds out that from Tohru's mum that another boy, Yuki, who was able to find her, and we learnt that Yuki gave her a blue cap. Tohru a blue cap, and which belongs to Kylo's himself, and he was annoyed that Yuki he saved Tohru, he got her back to her home, and he was jealous again. As I said before, he's always jealous of Yuki and what he got, because Yuki had mother and father, and he had wealth, and he had he had everything, but Kylo didn't have that. He had a very abusive father, and he had an absent and dead mom.
But he finds out towards the end of this that Yuki was jealous of him as well.
Because so,
interesting, hey?
Exactly so. So anyway, eventually he tells her this, and he runs away again, and Yuki tries to chase after him to man up and try to get him to own his feelings towards
you stand up and face your problems instead of running away.
The head arrives, and she attempts to stab Tohru but she stabs her in the arm, but all the time Tohru's telling her that all you're feeling now is very lonely. You're worried about that once the zodiac connections are severed, you'll feel like they're abandoning you.
So Tohru actually hits the
nail on
the
the
right
head.
spot, and this head god, whatever her name is, can't remember her name. She breaks down.
Yeah, and she says, Tohru tells her, we can be friends, and she tries to reach out her hand and say, let's just start over, and she says, hello, I'm Tohru, what's your name? But they're on the side of a cliff at this point, which
not
is
far from where the tent was before at the beginning. Yeah.
And the cliff edge crumbles, and
she falls
Tohru falls. Of course, the head runs back to the cabin, and she tells what she knows to the Shigure. And he asks her, "Did you push her?" And he says, "No, she fell, and the cliff crumbled." So you guys know, the head has been not only voice abusive, but she was physically abusive to other members of the Zodiac.
But at this point in time, she was softening.
She's actually abused other members of the Zodiac by stabbing or even hitting or even
intimidating and scratching and whatever she liked.
Anyway,
like permanent PMT, guys. You know what I mean.
Anyway, soon enough, Tohru's sent to hospital, and of course the head feels like she's did a big wrong, and soon enough she decides to destroy the cat cabin in favor of that. She doesn't think that Kaio deserves to be confined in there. So Kaio confronts his father about that he's not the monster that everyone claims. And we get the impression
that his father abused his mother, and she committed suicide because of the father, not because of Kaio.
And he's also very drunk, and he kept on saying all sorts of bad things, until Carla finally says that he does feel bad about what occurred, and he says that and he then remembers that he wasn't the only one who was abused, obviously, but his mother was abused.
Yeah, by Dad.
And he then realized his dad was a jerk, and then he walks off saying he will someday come visit again someday. Hopefully, maybe when his father calls off, because his dad's an alcoholic and all that stuff.
And blaming everybody except himself.
Throughout this series, everyone is blaming someone else for their problems or for the zodiac creature they occupy.
Move on.
Anyway, Tohru heals up, and finally Kylo puts all his past behind him and finally approaches Tohru with his feelings in hand. And he then kisses her, and he wants to hug her. And even though it would mean risking his being puffed into a kitty cat. But Tohru says that she's no longer afraid, that she says their love's invincible. And he says, fine, I think I'm invincible too. He then pulls her in a hug, and we think for a few seconds go by that he will turn into a cat, but nothing happens. Then we flash to the past, not to the past, it's more the story, the rest of the story to the Zodiac, where it talks about the god who was living on the mountain.
And he invited all the animals, Zodiac animals.
He is encouraged by the cat who becomes his companion for a bit, and then it gives him the idea to look for animals of that same characteristic to become his friends. So he invites them he sends out invitations, and those soon enough 12 animals arrive, and they all have fun together, laugh, had enjoyable banquets together. Then one day, the cat was slowly dying, and the god decides to make the bond between the animals and the god. Of course, the cat feels like he doesn't want to live forever, and the other animals, they reject him because he rejects the god's gift.
Yeah.
Of course, the creature dies, the cat dies, and then slowly over the years, the other animals die, and the god on the mountain, he eventually dies. Of course, the connection continues. Oh, I should mention, the cat says when he was rejecting the gift that all things must come to an end.
Yeah, and that's relevant to the end of the movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anyway, we then flash back to the present, where Tohru and Kaio are still hugging, baffled by their sudden not changing.
Actually, we go back a little bit here. Kaio's also been wearing a bracelet of beads.
Yeah.
And that's to stop him turning into the dragon or serpent as well.
Yeah, it's a red and white beads,
Yeah.
which
His
are
mother
actually
gave him.
the bones to the original cat being.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's painted with, on the red beads, they're actually blood from the original cat.
Anyway, he takes it off.
So he tears it off, and Tohru picks up the beads
But he doesn't
one by
turn
one.
into the dragony thing.
No, he somehow...
That's been broken. That curse has been broken
somehow
too.
the head finally lets go, and all the severed... severed strings that are connecting the zodiac members to their cat spirits, animal spirits, are finally severed.
Totally.
And all of them, some of them are crying, some weep, some of them feel like they are relieved, and feel like they finally can live their lives as normal human beings.
So,
moving on.
Let's start wrapping it up now.
So let's wrap this up. So
what happens to Dog Boy? And what happened to Cat Boy? Yeah.
Well, the dog, he actually opens up opens up to the head and tells her that he loved her. He's always loved her.
But she pushed him away.
Yeah, because they've had relationships with other people, and she got jealous and angry and felt like he was rejecting her. And soon enough, she approaches the other Zodiac members and it's herself as her new self.
Dressed up as a lady, not a man.
Yeah, some of the younger members who were in the dark were surprised, and the rest who were older, who knew the secret, knew that she looked very beautiful. But at the same time, some of them don't want to forgive her, don't want to forgive and forget, because the abuse has been long and hard to get over.
Anyway, she has a nice chat to them and everything.
Tells them that she hopes that they'll one day, maybe in the future, will forgive her.
Yeah.
She then goes to Simi Boy, and she tells her feelings, and he says how beautiful she is. And they finally admit their feelings, and she finally opens up to being a woman and stuff like that.
Yeah,
anyway,
and we move on to
Yuki
Catboy.
finally opens up to a relationship with the girl he's been
That's right, Yuki,
falling for in the student council, and he continues his to be the student council, and he makes his plans of going off to university somewhere without the influence of his parents. He's making up his own mind.
He's living his own life.
See, throughout his life, his parents have been making decisions for him.
Yeah, you're going to do this, you're going to do that. Yes, mummy, yes, daddy.
Now he's released from the cat spirit and its curse. He can finally live his life by doing what he wants.
Finally.
Yes, so he approaches his karate sensei master, and he makes plans to go to another area to study under another sensei in order to learn a bit, becoming a teacher, obviously.
Yeah, to be a teacher,
And he wants to take Tohru with him. Of course, he continues making out, okay, you don't have to decide right away, but she finally says yes. Because she doesn't want to be apart from him.
No.
She wants to stay with him, and she thinks that if she's apart from him, it will hurt her.
Yeah, and there's a flash forward.
we then flash to the future
And
where
someone's talking to some little children.
Yeah, we see a little girl with a cat and rat toy, and she's running up to her mum saying, "Where's Grandpa and Grandma?" Oh, well, she doesn't use Grandpa and Grandpa. She says, "Where's Tohru and Kion?" And they say, and her mother says, "What? You being disrespectful? You're supposed to say Grandpa, Grandpa. I mean Grandma and Grandma." And she says that her grandma doesn't mind her using their names, and of course they say her dad says, if you want to find your grandparents, they're gone for a walk by themselves, meaning they're being lovey-dovey. And we
they might be walking.
We see an elderly Tohru and Kylan walking hand in hand amongst the flowers. And
so they've been together for all these years.
Yeah, meaning they started a family. And we see a few photos on their table where we see even a photo of their wedding. I actually looked up online to find out what that photo was, and found out it was a traditional Japanese wedding.
Okay.
I was trying to figure out, I just wanted to find out if they got married or they were living in sin.
No, they got married.
These days people... Well, whenever you don't see a wedding, you think otherwise.
Well, they had to do a jump forward, Anyway, there you go. Pretty much ends about there.
Yeah, because the reason I think of this is because I had a teacher who he's living with his love interest, but he's not married to her, but they have a few children, so they're happy, and I guess there's no big deal about it. They don't have to.
News for you: I'm not married to your mother. We're living in sin. Happy now? No. I'm lying. I'm married in '79.
He's not the only one. I imagine there's probably a lot of couples out there who have decided to hook up, but stay together, but don't marry. Which is okay with me, I guess.
Yeah. Anyway,
if it's a stable...
It's a matter of choice.
It's a matter of choice in this matter. I mean, you don't need to be tied down with paper. I mean, as long as you're happy and you're healthy, that's it.
And they're really committed to each other, what the hell. Yeah.
Yes.
Whatever.
Anyway, that's the Fruit Basket series. I know I'm trying to keep it short as possible, but
I had to rein around a bit.
There are some really good bits, and there's a lot of interesting lovey-dovey bits.
They had backstories on different people and stuff. We couldn't go through everything, obviously.
Yeah.
And but basically, it is what it is. It's a good anime drama. I suppose.
I think
light-hearted.
They also made
melodrama.
They also made a prequel that was called.
The movie was it?
Yeah, a bit of a movie called. It's called Fruit Basket.
Prelude.
Which talks about Tohru's mum and dad and how they met and fell in love.
It's more of boring.
It's more of a romantic drama than considering this one did not dabble with the zodiac stories or anything like that.
So this one here is a good a good series compared to a lot of the other ones we've seen. It's been more. I mean, okay, they're all sort of teen, young adult orientated, but. The themes in this are a bit more serious instead of the other ones are a bit more comical. This isn't.
Well, it's a bit funny moments.
No, that's called a melodrama. In the olden days, you have a drama, you have a melodrama, and then you have a comedy. Mm-hmm. So a melodrama is a drama with a bit of humour thrown in just to lighten it.
Right.
Without being an out-and-out comedy. See? So like a black comedy would be a supernatural horror movie with a comedy thrown in. Yeah. Same sort of thing.
Yeah. Anyway,
irrespective. What I was saying is it's a good movie to watch. I'm 79, right? Yeah.
TV series, Mike.
No.
You say there was a movie.
Sorry,
it was 69. A TV series.
I just turned 69, not 79, 69 just recently, and I'm old, and I still enjoyed it. So it's not just for teens and young adults. I think anyone who likes a good story will appreciate this.
Yeah.
So it's not bad. Can't say much about reception and everything, but from what I've read about the book and the original series and everything else, the whole thing, the whole franchise, people like.
Yeah.
How's that? I can't say anything else.
I should mention, guys, that this series is closer connected to the manga version.
The manga stories, yeah.
Unlike the other one, whom did a little bit
of a
shorter version, but at the same time did a few different changes to the story.
Now, having said that, I'm going to talk about the availability part of it before we do the grading. Now, availability. if you are looking for it, whether it's on eBay or Amazon or elsewhere, be careful. Because there is a 26-episode version that was made in 2001.
Right.
We're not doing that one. We're doing this one, which is the 63-episode version done in between 2019 and 2021. It's the same name, Fruits Basket, so be very careful when you go hunting on your Amazon, eBay, or other site where you might get them. Now, having said that, plenty for sale on eBay, and it's plenty for saleable and plenty for sale, and it's rentable on Amazon. So it should be out there, and you guys, if you're interested, should be able to get it. Now, rating, I'm going to give it a 9.
I'm going to give it a 9.2, guys.
There you go then. Pretty damn good.
I think it's pretty good, and I think that the I did like the. Some people would often say why the characters would act. Why Tohru is so forgiving and so nice and stuff like that. Instead of getting angry or frustrated, she just seems like a very nice, accepting person.
See, when her father passed away, she wanted to be kind to her mother, so she started to act in a mature way, the same way her father would have. If he was still there. So she's taken a mature, nurturing character on as she was growing up. So she was actually a very loving, caring person as a child, and obviously became second nature to her.
Yeah, so she
pretty good.
Yeah, because her dad was a really nice guy. As I said,
how did he die?
He died of an illness.
Yeah, some illness. Yeah, didn't say. A mum got killed.
In the prequel, it explains. Well, not really explains the illness. But
might be covered.
He just upped and died. And that's the last time we heard of him.
But then Mummy got killed when we found out during this in season 3 that a car got out of control and she was standing at the crossing and she got hit by the car and died. Not a good way to go.
Yeah,
messy.
Kyle couldn't save her because he was worried that
he was standing there, but he didn't want to risk touching her because if he grabbed her and hugged her, he would turn into an animal and scare all the people away.
Yeah, would be bad, very bad.
So he didn't know what to do, and he blamed himself for her death.
Yeah.
Anyway, irrespective, I will leave it there. It's a good watch. Now, 63 episodes sounds long. They're about 20 minutes each.
23 minutes, yeah.
Yeah, so about 3 to an hour. So there's a bit of watching involved. If you've got nothing better to do, a couple of days, week or two, watch them, if you do it. But you can get box sets, I gather, for the whole lot, or season 1, season 2, season 3.
Yeah, and
download them.
And Mike mentioned this to me also, guys. If you're living in Australia or Queensland, seeing as we live in Australia and Queensland, you can check it out in JB Hi-Fi. That's where I found a bunch of the episodes.
Okay, we're
a
in
bunch
Australia.
of the DVDs.
We have a place which it still sells lots of DVDs and CDs. So now, I presume you'd have something like JB Hi-Fi in different countries. But it's a really big shop. So, they do sometimes get the box sets of the TV series. So, it could well be in there if you want to get a hard copy from them. You might get a better deal, too.
Or even just the rental video video places. Or
our video libraries are disappearing because of all the streaming and everything, so we're not, they're disappearing.
Yeah.
So that they might, I don't know what the other countries doing at the moment, they might be streaming more.
They also there's also libraries if they have DVD sections in your area. There might be a chance they might have a few DVDs that will.
Amazon's good for rental if you want to test it. Or, that's what I do. Go in there and check the first couple as a rental, and if you like it, go and buy them. Because that way you might want to watch them again. So, you save money in the end. Yeah. What do you reckon?
I agree.
Yeah. Okay. Do you want to kill it?
Oh, yes, guys. Thanks for listening to this latest podcast, everyone. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I'll be sure to include some more non-anime related movies or non-Japanese related movies in the next couple of days.
Hopefully, next one we might do an old movie, a blast from the past, if we're lucky.
Yeah, hopefully, guys. If the mood swings me in that general direction.
I've been trying to get an old sci-fi like Forbidden Planet or something or other.
Hey, at least we reviewed them. we'll be reviewing. We've reviewed
How about
the Mummy
them?
movies.
How about them? The giant ants.
Yeah. My nephew and niece couldn't even handle it.
Teenagers from outer space.
We've been there, Mike.
Oh, yeah, never mind. Wasn't very good anyway.
Hey, don't knock it.
I love the man. The aliens monster. They look like a big lobster stood up. And
Mike, if you don't shut up, I'm going to hit you with this book, and it's going to be really heavy.
Okay, it is a big book. Looks like a telephone book. A little one. Country town, but yeah.
All right, thanks for everyone, guys, for listening to this last episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and be sure to check it out, the series, when you can. And leave us a comment. Which one is your favorite episode? I recommend definitely to check out Cinderella-ish.
Oh yeah, the one about Cinderella-ish. Ed is really funny. What was that one? The other one we saw for the gods, and they did their version.
Oh, that would be the Play of Gods.
Yeah, that was funny, wasn't it?
That was funny.
What they did? They did.
They did their own Cinderella one.
And that was funny though.
But again, that's a different anime, so I won't go into that one yet. But this one is really funny.
It is funny.
That episode is funny where
everyone's going, huh?
Yeah. All wondering why is Cinderella so dark
instead of the sweet a black dress and stuff, and instead of blue and white.
Yeah. At least she still wore silver slippers.
Yeah, it's quite funny. She's still eating out of it, wasn't she?
Yeah, she gave put a slipper and some chopsticks into Kylo was the handsome prince, if you will.
It's quite funny. Anyway, if you like, come back to us and tell us, and we'll be good.
Yeah, I also like the one where the girl with the psychic girl gets confronted by the Mino trio, Yuki's fan club.
Oh yeah,
I loved it. It was so hilarious, that one.
Yeah, he does remind me of Wednesday Addams a little bit. Quite nice. Anyway, when did they get the idea from that? I don't know. Maybe, but then again, I don't know when the manga was written, so I can't really say at this point. Wednesday Addams been around since the 60s or 70s?
True, 60s? Mike. Yeah. True.
Yeah.
Incidentally, if you've already heard, which was probably not too long ago,
girl,
the lady who was
Little Wednesday Addams in the TV series recently passed away. Yeah. So.
Yeah, she was no more than 50, I think.
Well, she have to be more than 50.
She was 50 when remember, she was only, say, 6 or 7 when she played Wednesday when she was a little child. So, and whatever year that was. And
it was made in the 60s. I'll try to work it out. 60s.
Yeah,
it could be more than 50. It could be mid to late 50s.
Well, it says in the obituaries 54 years.
Yeah.
So
he would have been pushing it.
So, anyway, that's about it for us tonight, guys. Be sure to check it out and let us know in the comments which is your favorite episode. I highly recommend the ones I recommend. But I recommend you guys watch the whole series to identify which ones you like.
Well, rent the first couple. Just test it out. Yeah.
Test it out, and so
because 63 is a lot to commit to if you're going to buy them.
Yeah, and 3 seasons can be a bit of a pain sometimes, depending on who's telling the story. Anyway, that's about it for us. So thanks for listening to us today. So I'll see you guys next time on Boys and Ghouls Film Review. So this is Mike Stephenson. And this is Sarah Stephenson saying, see you guys around on Boys and Ghouls Film Review.
You took my line.
Bye for now.
Bye.